everyone. So are you excited listening to the story Should Wizard Hit Mommy by John Updike? So in today's video, I'm going to summarize the story in the shortest time frame possible. And please watch the video towards the end as I'm also going to discuss two important questions of this chapter. So here the story starts. It was a Saturday evening. Every evening Jack told his daughter Jo a story out of his head. This custom began when she was 2. Now he had been telling her bedtime stories for almost 2 years. His story had a central character named Roger, a small creature. It could be Roger Fish, Roger Squirrel, Roger Chipmunk, but today it was Roger Skunk. This Roger Skunk smelled so bad that none of the other woodland creatures would play with him. They called him Stinky Skunk, and then they would run away. Roger Skunk would stand there all alone. Tears would fall from his eyes. Jo asked if he would not see the owl. Jack said that the Roger Skunk walked along very sadly to a very big tree. There was a huge wise old owl on the topmost pointed end of the tree. Roger Skunk told the owl that all the other animals ran away from him because he smelled very bad. The owl admitted that he did so. Roger Skunk cried very hard. He wanted to know what he could do. The owl suggested going to the wizard. The owl advised Roger Skunk to go through the dark woods under the apple trees into the swamp, and there would be the wizard's house over a creek. Creek means a little river. On reaching the little white house, Roger Skunk rapped on the door. A tiny little old man came out with a long white beard and a pointed blue hat. He observed that the creature smelled awful. Roger Skunk said the huge wise owl had told him that he could help him. The wizard found his magic wand and asked Roger Skunk what he wanted to smell like. Roger thought and said, "Roses." He chanted a magic spell. All of a sudden, the whole inside of the wizard's house was full of the smell of roses. The wizard asked, now 7 pennies for his work. Roger Skunk had only 4 pennies, and again he began to cry. The wizard now directed him to go to the end of the lane and turn around 3 times and look down the magic well. Roger Skunk did so and found 3 pennies in the magic well. He took them to the wizard, and he was now very happy. He ran out into the woods. The other creatures gathered round him because he smelled very good. They played various games the children play. They played and laughed all afternoon. Then it began to get dark. They all ran to their mommies. Jo thought that the story was all over. Jack did not like that she should take anything for granted. So he continued the story further. Roger Skunk's mother asked him about that awful smell. He was surprised and added that he smelt like roses. Then the mother asked, who had made him smell like that? He said that it was the wizard. Mommy asked him to come with her, and they were going right back to that awful wizard. Skunk protested that all other animals would run away. She said that he used to smell the way a little skunk should have. So she took an umbrella and went back with Roger Skunk. And she hit the wizard right over the head. The wizard said, "Okay." And Roger Skunk smelled very bad again. He no longer smelled like that of roses. Jo, listening to the story, put her hand out to touch his lips and said to her father. Then the wizard hit her on the head and did not change that little skunk back. Her father Jack continued the story in his own fashion. Skunk and his mother went home. They heard the sound of the train. When Daddy arrived home, they had their supper. And Jack described the various items of their supper, and the story was over now. But little Jo, a childish bent of mind, was not at all satisfied with the way her father had ended the story. So she asked whether the other little animals did not run away. Jack told her that in a little while they got used to the way he was and did not mind at all. Jo said, that was a stupid mommy. Jack said she wasn't so. Jo felt that her father was defending his own mother to her, or something as odd. Jack asked her to put her head in the pillow and have a good long nap. Jo asked her father to tell her the story the next day that wizard took that magic wand and hit that mommy right over the head. Jack said that was not the story. He stressed that point. Little Skunk loved his mommy more than he loved all the other little animals, and she knew what was right. Jo again asked her father to say the next day that the wizard hit that mommy. She insisted that he should say so. Jack promised to see to it. He asked her to leave. He asked her to have a rest, in fact, and stay on the bed. He praised her as a good girl. Now after this, the next scene. Jack closed the door and went downstairs. His wife, Claire, had spread the newspapers and opened the paint can. She was wearing an old shirt of his on the top of her maternity smock. She was stroking the chair rail with a dipped brush. He heard footsteps upstairs. He shouted to beat Jonah on the buttons. Then the footsteps wavered. Claire observed that it was a long story. He simply said, "The poor kid." And then he watched his wife working hard on the woodwork. He also felt that he was caught in an ugly middle position. He felt his wife's presence in the case with him, but he did not want to speak with her, work with her, touch her, anything. He watched everything with utter weariness. Now, this is the end of the story. Before I come to the last section where I have to take up two important questions. I would like to discuss about why Jack feels caught in an ugly middle position. Jack feels that he has been caught in an ugly middle position physically, emotionally, as well as mentally. The woodwork, okay, and the other things. He was, in fact, conscious of his duties as father and as a husband. One side, he's taking care of his daughter, and the other side, he is also thinking about his wife. Jack did not like that women should take anything for granted. He liked them to be apprehensive. So, he extended the story, though he was in a haste to go downstairs and help his pregnant wife in her hard work of painting the woodwork. The result of the extension to the story proved unfruitful and unpleasant for Joe, Jack, and Claire. Joe wanted him to change the ending of the story, and Claire complained that he had told a long story. So Jack felt utter weariness and did not want to speak with his wife or work with her, and he was really caught now in an ugly middle position. Now, the time has come when we have to discuss the two important questions. The question is, what is the moral issue that the story raises? So the answer is, the story raises a moral issue. Should parents always decide what the children should do or let the children do what they like to do? What do you think, children? Actually, there is an evident contrast between an adult's perspective on life and the worldview of a little child. But then he sums up the issues in one sentence. He says that Joe was stuck to her viewpoint and father was stuck to his viewpoint. Here, in fact, the moral issue is that what should be done? How should this be dealt with? Next question which we have to take up is about the title of this story. Why do you think the title has a question mark? And how far do you find it a convincing and appropriate title? Actually, the question mark in the title, Should Wizard Hit Mommy?, focuses the reader's attention on the two well-wishers of the main character, Roger Skunk. The wizard solves Roger Skunk's problem of bad smell and gives him the smell of roses at his request. The skunk's mother, in anger because her baby has been deprived of the bad odor which a skunk of his age should emit. This bad odor is a sort of armor, a sort of protection against predators, and this way they find that they are protected. The mother skunk hits the wizard on the head and forces him to restore the foul smell to the skunk. But here, Jo, the 4-year-old girl, for whom the wizard is a real do-gooder, cannot digest his humiliation at the hands of a stupid mother. So from her point of view, the smell of roses makes skunk popular among the other little animals. So the story can take either direction, and ending depending on the point of view of the adult or child. So the author very cunningly seeks the reaction of his readers by putting a question mark at the end of the title. One may approve it or may reject it. Thus, the title is quite convincing and appropriate one. So, if you have been practicing NCERT questions, it would be easier for you to prepare for your exams. Do the assignments sincerely and feel free to ask me if you hang out. That's all from me for today. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please press the subscribe button and bell icon right next to it and give a thumbs up if you like it. Happy watching.